Abby, I'm gonna need you to come to the front for me because I need that. I need that from you. And JoJo, don't think I'm gonna let you slide either, because I'm not. I'm finna get on you too.
For legal purposes, everything said in this video is not to be taken serious and strictly for entertainment purposes only.
Alright, so if y'all haven't watched my video of the chapters 1 through 3 review that I did, I would recommend you go back, watch that first, and then come back here. So today we're gonna be covering chapters 4 through 6, and when I tell y'all, this then took me on a roller coaster of like anger and like sadness all in one sitting, because I read this in one sitting. Nia, you did a great job with this book. I'm gonna tell you, you did a wonderful job. So let's get straight into it. Let's get straight into it, because chapter 6 is gonna be a little long. I was gonna do chapter 7, but chapter 6 was a little long. We got a lot of notes. We got a lot to talk about. So starting with chapter 4. So this is where the racism really gets crazy, right? So she talks about how Abby made the girls wear the same type of blush, and you know, obviously the girls was white and the blush wasn't gonna look right on Nia's face. So she was always mad at Nia because like her blush didn't match the rest of the girls. So since the like skin tone, Nia specifically, Abby was saying like her skin tone, her eye color, and her body didn't match the girls. So Abby said like due to that, like the girls didn't look uniform. Abby would always remind Nia how hard it was to make costumes match her skin. Like, it's really not even that hard. So that's when I started really getting pissed off, because I'm like, come on, like, why do you, as a dance teacher, why are you keep coming to me telling me that it's hard to do your job? I'm paying you X amount of dollars and you can't do your job? Oh, okay. Okay. So she talks about like how all of this really made her self-conscious, because Abby would never fail to let her know that she was making it hard for, you know, the group to look uniform. So Nia talks about how she got to protect the style. She got braids, and Abby was just livid, like talked about it being a log coming out the side of her head. And let's not even call it a microaggression no more. These are macroaggressions. She's being blatantly racist to Nia and to black culture as a whole, and we let this woman get away with it for this on. And I still think to this day people still like her, because I went on her page yesterday and I don't see no hate comments. Now I'm not one to send hate to people, but y'all do it for everybody else. Y'all get on everybody else comments and y'all start typing it and blah 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 blah. But I get to hers is, oh my god, I love you so much, Abby. It ain't even no new comments. So either she's just irrelevant, she blocking some out, or y'all just ain't in that field no more. I'm sorry, I'm just mad, y'all. I don't even act like this. Alright, so then she says this to Nia, right? Don't you wish you had white girl hair? What? Don't you wish you had white girl hair? Now why in the world does Abby think that we as black people would want white people hair? I ain't even gonna say too much on that. So Nia started to feel like she was holding them back because her hair and then like the differences of her as a whole. And you know, like obviously she was a young girl, so it was very impressionable on her, like anything Abby was saying, and especially being around all those, you know, white girls, and especially growing up in a school that was predominantly white, it was easier for her to think that, you know, maybe she should you know, look different. But you know what I liked? Let's go back to the don't you wish you had white girl hair. Nia told her, no, I don't wish I had white girl hair. Actually, she didn't say it like that, but she did say no, and I like that. I definitely like that, because like, no, I don't want your, I'm finna get out the character. No, I don't want white people here. Thank you. All right, so then she just like, you know, goes on, like it was very popular amongst the show of like knowing how Abby felt about anything falling off your head when you had hair pieces on. So like she talked about how like a lot of the girls had a lot of anxiety when it came to that. So it was the point she talked about, like somebody on set came up with an idea of zip tying hair accessories to their hair, and you know, it stayed in but it led to a lot of like breakage from their hair, because sometimes they was like, she said she doesn't know if it was from like it being too tight or them having to cut out the zip tie in itself, which is what caused breakage. She said sometimes like her head would even bleed from having those zip ties in. So I just really don't like that, because it was just like the lengths that they had to go to in order to please this nasty lady. It's just like, ugh. Like, all right. So then production had gifted the girls makeup bags, and Abby had a complete meltdown. And let me say, y'all, I grew up an only child. I have a brother who's now 2, so I'm not the only child technically anymore. But a lot of people used to talk about only child syndrome, and I used to get so mad because I don't have only child syndrome. At least I don't think so. But when I come across people who are the only child, I know what y'all mean by only child syndrome now. And Abby definitely has that. Because why are you having a meltdown? Because little girls were given makeup bags. She said Abby felt like production was like favoring them. She's like, they don't need that stuff. It was just very vile. She's a very like hateful woman. And then Nia talks about how like fan art and any like gifts or anything that was sent to the girls were never received, because Abby felt like they didn't need it. So any of these people who were sending spending their hard-earned time making like crafts and stuff for them or buying them stuff, they never received it. And I don't know what Abby was doing with it. She probably was selling it, knowing her. Anyways, so we go on to like amongst the show. When it came to Nia, Abby always talked about Nia's feet, right? And I mean, like, I never really paid attention to her feet, so I'm not really gonna go deeper into that. But you know, Abby just kept saying she had bad feet, and Abby would always use these macroaggressions, saying, you know, people have flat feet. She said, you know, your people have flat feet, you know, because you're African American. So Abby had this you know, stereotype against black people, or just I think she's relating it to African people. I'm not sure, that, you know, we have flat feet. I don't have no flat feet, so you people have flat feet, but I don't have flat feet. And I don't even know if Nia had flat feet. I don't know if she didn't really specify that in there, but like, white people got flat feet too, so what are we talking about? So it's to the point where like Nia is really talking about like, oh my gosh, like I wish I had like better feet. She like really hated her feet, because everything Abby is saying to her is seeping into her subconscious. And so like she even to the point like for Christmas she wished to Santa that she had good feet. And I remember in the book she talks about like she told her grandma like how she wished she didn't like her feet, and her grandma was like, your feet are beautiful, like what are you talking about? So then we go on to Abby, and this is really crazy, right? Because look, hold on, let me just say, y'all, Abby used to criticize her thighs, butt, and leg. Abby used to criticize Nia's thighs, butt, and legs, and used to call her fat. Baby, the call is coming from inside the house, because you have no business calling anybody fat, baby. Like, no, zero at all. So, this was really like a big thing. Nia, you know, she kind of like, you know, she explains it in more depth. She's just talking about like how even like the moms would comment on her appearance, and she would also say like people weren't defending her within that, you know, within the ALDC. So she kind of started to feel like, okay, well maybe, you know, it is true, like maybe I do look like this. So she becomes self-conscious about her body. She talks about like she wore certain clothes to cover her body, so she'll wear like you know, long shirts, or she'll wear like ties, and she's like imagine how uncomfortable I was in these clothing, but I was doing it because I was really self-conscious of how I looked because of how Abby made her look. And Nia she is a thick girl. She looks beautiful. Her body always looked beautiful. But that's what they wish they had. That's why they be going to get those BBLs and they get their lips done so they can look like us. But you see, back then, they was all doing that talk, big lips, big thighs, big butt. This too big. You look too fat. It's just, y'all. Like I said, I'm real mad today. I'm real mad about this. So then, she talks about like how Gabby Hanna, which I really don't favor her anyways. I used to watch her, but you know. She goes to DM Nia and says, thick thighs save lives. And Nia was like, although she, you know, appreciates the fact that you were trying to mold some positivity around it, she said she didn't really like it overall because it, you know, oh, she's like, oh, so you think it's true? Like, you think I'm too, you know, thick. So she kind of was looking at the word thick as a bad thing. So that's why she kind of really didn't like that DM. And I didn't really like that DM either. I kind of felt like it was ignorant. I think a proper response, especially to a child, I forgot how old she was at the time, but I think maybe 10 or 11. She said she was going through a puberty, so you know, 10, 11, 12, let's say that. I feel like the proper response as a grown adult that Gabby Hanna is, I feel like she should say, hey, you know, your body looks great. Just don't listen to the noise. X out the noise. You don't know what she's talking about. Like, you look good. All right, so we move on to chapter 5, and she just talks about how Pyramid took 3 hours, and you know the moms just argue, blah blah blah. Okay, we kind of knew this already. She would talk about how since Maddie was homeschooled earlier in the season, if y'all recall, yeah, she probably got homeschooled probably like season 1 or before season 1 even started. So Maddie she would learn dances earlier. And Nia would kind of get Nia and the girls would get irritated because Abby would always criticize like the rest of them for not learning the dances as fast as Maddie does, with knowing that Maddie already learned the dances prior. But she does, you know, mention, like, she gives Maddie her props. She's like, undoubtedly so. Maddie is a fast learner, so she's not going to take that away from her. But it's just the fact that Maddie is coming in early to do these things, and you're like criticizing us for something that she already learned. So Nia starts to feel like the show was made for Maddie to become a star because Abby really favored Maddie, and Maddie always got these good solos, these good costumes, top of the pyramid all the time. She just felt like Abby, because she said Abby had a lot of say-so with production and everything and how things went. So she felt like it was really catered to Maddie to become the star that she became. So Nia at this point, she's starting to no longer have fun because of like how this show is making her perceived. Like Maddie was the star and Nia was the weak link. So it's not much to really like about being on a TV show when everybody is looking at you like you're a bad dancer, and y'all are looking at her a bad dancer when Kendall and JoJo were on the show too. Y'all talking about the worst dancer with JoJo came later. Kendall existed. I hope y'all know that. Like, I never, because even, who the heck did I do her? Even at like the time that I was younger, because I had mentioned in the last video that a lot of the times I was kind of like ignorant to a lot of this stuff, and I kind of felt like she was a bad dancer at one point, but then I was like, oh, actually she's actually a really good dancer. Like, what are y'all talking about? I never liked the way Kendall danced, and I used to prop her up. Not the next Maddie, but they were saying like that was like her equal or something. I don't know, it was something like they was like the pair, right? And I just never saw it because I never thought Kendall was a good dancer. Her facial expressions were never good. Her feet were never pointed all the way, since we wanted to talk about bad feet. Just when we talk about bad feet, right? Anyways, so this really gets sad because Nia just talks about how like the show has like dulled her shine. And you know, as we start off the book, she talked about how like she was like this big ball of energy, and you can just see how Abby in this show just dims her light as it keeps going. So Abby would lie about taking her out of dances, would just say like, would just not make reasonable like reasons as to why she wasn't putting her in certain dances. I kind of forgot the examples she put. I didn't write those down. That's shame on me. But yeah, she was just saying Abby wasn't a very straightforward person. She would just kind of like tiptoe around the fact like, oh, I'm, you know, taking you out because of this, but it's really not that. She just doesn't want her in the dance. You know, she was it's just that was the basis. So Nia talks about how season 3 was when the weight kicked in about being at the bottom. So this is really starts to take a toll on her. She realized like she's just shoved in the back. She said she was shoved in the back and hidden during group dances. She referred into it as like left back. She was always in the left back corner. So she had mentioned, and this is funny because this is really the only time she really mentions Kendall. I'm gonna get to that later, but she mentions how Kendall and her were paired for a duet, and she noticed that Kendall rolled her eyes when at the news that she was paired with a duet, and I just found that very ungrateful and nasty, because getting a duet, getting a solo is a very good thing, and the fact that you rolling your eyes, and the fact you getting a Jill and Kendall, y'all nasty too. I don't even like y'all. That's all. I'm not even gonna keep talking about y'all. Anyways, so she felt like she had no room to grow due to her being at the bottom, and she really didn't get any opportunities to showcase her skills, like with solos and things, and she really didn't have like much attention put on her. So it was kind of just like she was just going, going with the flow. So she starts to realize they did not want her there. And well, we're not gonna say they, we're gonna say Abby. Abby really didn't want her there, so instead of walking away, she wanted to work harder. And I had said in the last video, I didn't like this mentality, because it's sometimes you should know when to just walk away, you know what I'm saying? But she was also young, and so you do have to find out things the way you find out things. The way she found it out was the way she was supposed to find it out. So she says like, before the show started, she would always be in the top 5, like when it came to competitions and stuff. But as Abby would say, like, second is the first to lose and stuff like that. So it was always first or nothing, you know what I'm saying? So she said she was at the bottom because somebody felt like putting her there, not because of actually her. Just saying, like, she just felt like Abby just wanted her there at the bottom of the pyramid, so she just put her there because she said it can be weeks that she performed great and Abby would just put her at the bottom because, oh, your mom made me mad. So she said even if she outperformed everyone, she would still find a reason. And Abby had this little thought that she was saving Nia from like oppression, which is weird, right? Yeah, Abby thought she was saving Nia from oppression and all this weird stuff just by like giving her these opportunities. Really, baby, you putting me deeper into the depression. All right, so now we move to chapter freaking 6, and chapter 6 is where my anger really set in. So she was saying how like it was like cliques created among the girls. Bad behavior was often encouraged. Like the worse you acted, the more screen time you would get. So Gia, she said, like, this is crazy to me because Gia was portrayed as like the nice version and everybody liked to work with Gia. Gia would talk to Nia the same way Abby did. So well, yeah, that was very surprising to me. I didn't know that. I really did. I'm not gonna lie, I did stop watching the show. It was like a very on and off thing for me because of the fact that, like, as I got older, it was just like, but now definitely I would never be able to. I don't even think I would ever watch the show again now, knowing everything that I know and I'm about to talk about in this chapter. Topless Showgirls was a dance that Abby wanted them to do, and they had fans, and the fans were supposed to be used to entice the audience, leaving them wanting more. Moms felt like this was very inappropriate, and it sounds very inappropriate because I think they were young at the time. They was like 9 or 10. So the episode was banned and you can't find it anywhere. So apparently, I don't know if they I don't think they competed this dance. I think it was probably them just practicing. So she feels like Abby didn't put all her time into other dancers. She kind of just like the ones that she favorited, like Maddie, and who else was I feel like Kendall was her favorite at the time. Then Chloe had like a little shine a little bit too, but it just her favorites was the ones she would put her time into, and those are the ones that will ultimately be the ones succeeding. So Abby used to hate when they were anywhere but dance. So if they had anything else to attend to, Abby did not like that. She wanted everybody to be Abby wanted everybody to be homeschooled so they can really have more time for dance. Because she always used to put up Maddie and Kenzie for being homeschooled, which is weird. I feel like dance is not life. I definitely think school should come before dance. School should come before anything. So I didn't like how she wanted them to be homeschooled. So then as they go to like ALDCLA, due to the strict rules regarding school, like even if the moms would get into, because LA has really strict child labor laws versus Pittsburgh, because LA is LA, that's where all the child stars are at. So even if the moms would get into like a huge fight with Abby and wanted to leave, they would have to stay if the child had not completed school for the day. So the minimum was 1 hour and the max was 5 hours. So if they hadn't completed that 1 hour of school, they would have to stay. I think the moms would like sit in the car and wait until, she said this didn't happen often. She was just like, but it had happened to her one time, and her mom just had to wait outside until Nia finished. So contrary to popular belief, because I thought this too, the drama was actually real, and she said there was more drama behind the scenes than what had aired. And I really thought a lot of the stuff was scripted too myself. I used to be like, dang, like this just don't seem real. Like, ain't no way. Because I was dancing at the time too. I'm like, ain't no way it's just this much drama going on. My mama don't even come to the dance studio. She dropped me off at the front and she go home. So, I'm like, ain't no way. So she's episode dropping a lot in this, and I'm gonna look up and make sure Abby ain't making a dime off if I rewatching on Hulu these episodes she's talking about, because I want to see, like, I want to be able to, like, fit it with what she's talking about. But if she's making a dime off it, I'ma just take her word for it, right? So she said they was filming season 2, episode 10. Abby was mad about people they did bad in the group dance. What's new? So Paige was hurt, something, I think it was her ankle or something, and Holly was like, okay, oh yeah, let me backtrack. They were supposed to do a trio: Maddie, Paige, Chloe. Paige was hurt. Holly asked if Nia could be the swing in case Paige doesn't heal before the time it's time to dance. So Abby says, "Oh, I was already planning to do that. You just ruined it." Talking at the mouth, outside her mouth. So Holly and Abby get into it. They arguing. Holly ain't going for none of that. She's standing on business. And that she said. So Nia says this part makes it to the show when they arguing and blah blah blah. But the part that did get taken out. So she's like, Abby's just red, like, cause Holly talking her ish, man. Holly talking about like, I ain't going for none of that, like, I'm really exaggerating, but yeah, Holly was standing on business. So she's like, Abby's just red in the face, like she's just so embarrassed, da da da. So this is what's taking out the show. Abby calls Nia a weak link and says she never wanted her on the show. She wanted skinny girls, same height, blue eyes, and she didn't want a Tootie. So Tootie, I don't know who the heck Tootie is, but when I heard that, I said, you call her a what? Still, I don't even know who Tootie is. I don't even know who Tootie is. But, so it's apparently from the movie or show called Facts of Life. Oh my God. That's Tootie. This is Tootie, y'all. That's Tootie. Y'all probably know who that is. Y'all, I'm 21. I don't know. I'm sorry, y'all. So, she didn't want a Tootie. And she says Abby also mentions in her book, which I didn't even know Abby made a book. I'm not going to read that because I'm not giving her another dime. So she goes, what were the producers thinking? What was I going to do with this team of misfit toys? Just talking about like how the girls are not... She just wanted girls that look the exact same, which is just weird because it's like, what are you really trying to accomplish? But this is just making me realize like, Abby has no remorse for anything that she did to those girls, and I don't know you would think what she went through, like her going to jail, her being in the hospital, couldn't walk, like you would think that would cause you to sit back and be like, hold on, maybe this happened to me for a reason. But now I don't know if this book happened before or after this happened, but it seems to me that she doesn't have no remorse because I haven't seen no apology. I need her to apologize. She got 24 hours to respond to apologize, and I'm not playing. Anyways, so Abby puts her hands on Nia. Now she ain't fight her, but she don't need to be touching her in the first place. So she yanks her. Like she walks up to Nia, like missed up Holly like in her argument, and she like yanks Nia out of the line. And so now Holly on 10 because you didn't touch my child. No. So Holly yelling at Abby. She like, don't you put your hands on my child. Like we can really get them bumping. Like you can really step outside with me. She ain't say all that. Y'all know she ain't say all that. But yeah, Holly like, don't put your hands on my kid. And then so Nia just talking about how she felt like during this. Like Nia said, like she got yanked so hard to the point she almost got knocked off balance. Like that's how hard Abby had like yanked her, and they did not put that in the show at all. So then Abby takes the solo away due to this, you know, this like interaction she had with Holly. And so, you know, they leave. Holly and Nia leave. And Nia talks about how the show made it seem like she got expelled. But she said, no, we left, baby. We got up out of there because you put your hands on me. And then we went home. And then Miss Holly got on the phone with them lawyers. And she trying to get out the production contract. Like, I think this was really like kind of like her breaking point. Like, I'm done with this show. Like, you to put your hands on my kid. You took it too far. I was in them comments in them weak solo slide. But now you done took it too far. So they try to get out of it. And then like she doesn't really specify if they was like if like the lawyers were saying they could get out of it. So I'm assuming they weren't able to get out of it. But the producers had a meeting with the lawyer, and the producers like, okay, we're gonna make this right for you. Like, we're gonna make sure like none of this happen again. Blase. So Nia talks about how like Abby not wanting her there made her want to be there more, and nobody was gonna push her out. I don't like that, but then look, she redeems herself. She speaks as an adult. She speaks like as her adult self. She says she looks back and she realized like sometimes you don't have to prove a point, and being right is not all the time worth it. And I like that she's able to like acknowledge that now, because it's like I'm glad that she's seeing that she does not need to do any of that. She doesn't have to prove herself to these people in order to be in a place. So she talks about like for the situation, nobody apologized to Nia and brushed past it, like for, you know, her yanking her and calling her a tootie. But yeah, Nia did say Holly was turned up when she called her a tootie, cause she said, you ain't just call my child a tootie. And now that I see tootie, I'm just like, all right, you know, you really play Abby. So producers claimed that Abby was reprimanded and was crying, and y'all know she was crying them alligator tears. Abby always would pull out them alligator tears. Like, let me not go there. She cried, saying she never allowed herself to get that mad. Never allowed herself to like, you know, actually put her hands on a child. So the production is basically assuring like Nia Holly like this will never happen again. Like, we're gonna take the precautions to make sure this doesn't happen again. So they end up hiring a solution therapist. And the girls were given brand new iPads. She was like, at the time they were very happy, but now looking back at it, she said this was just nothing purely but a distraction to make them forget what just happened. So she was like, due to this, like the girls never really talked about stuff like this. Everything, a lot of these like situations was just brushed past. Like nobody ever would bring it back up. So I guess she ends up like still keeping her solo. I don't know how. She doesn't really talk about that. So she says she learns this is the time she forgets her solo. So she learned her solo. I'm assuming that production made Abby do it, because the production did have a lot of say so, because it was a difference between being like having a contract with the ALDC and having a contract with Lifetime, like the dance moms. So she said she learned her solo within a day, and she forgot it because of everything that happened. But the show had made it play into the fact of the narrative that she was a bad dancer, knowing that they just cut everything out that happened when she called her a tootie. She put her hands on her, all that. The show was really saving face for Abby, and it's like, for what? And that's why I'm like, oh, Abby really got these like supporters just because of the way the show portrayed her. Like, yeah, she was saying some nasty stuff, but the real nasty stuff that would have made the show be in some hot water, they was cutting that out, and they know what they was doing. So mentally, she used to mentally prepare herself before going into dance. Sometimes would get anxiety. So the solution therapist was named Stacy. She said when Stacy was there, Abby would always be on her best behavior. And then like due to this, the girls would get a sense of safety with this, and like not knowing that it was just manipulation. And that once Stacy left, they would be treated worse because it was just built up anger. So she said Nia started feeling like she was being overly sensitive about like how she felt, because Abby had a lot of fans. So she was thinking like, is what she's doing not wrong? So Stacy had taught Nia how to like compartmentalize, y'all. I don't know why they just got me stuck. So she taught her that, and instead of like teaching her how to cope, she wished that they focused more on just fixing Abby. And she said she felt like that make the place a little bit better. So she never had security to know. No, they never had security to know if the show was continued. I got kind of confused on this because I remember I read it wrong, but she said like it was at first supposed to be 6 weeks and then it turned to 7 seasons. So I don't know how, like she said they would assess the ratings at the end of the season, and then they would like tell them if they're gonna get another season. So moms end up going on strike in hopes that they can have more say so for the girls to be compensated fairly for tutors, food, and places to rest. But the show made it seem like a walkout. I remember this. They were sitting in their car. Abby was all mad, and Maddie was crying. Like, I remember that. So the show made it seem like it was a walkout, like kind of like towards Abby, but it was really towards production. So they're under contract, so that's why they sat in their cars and didn't just show up at all, because at the end of the day, they have to show up to the ALDC at the end of the day. So Abby threatens to call the police for them not coming in. This is where we get that whole storyline of like Abby bringing in like a whole new team, because like the producers gave her the green light to bring in a whole new team just for the storyline. Cool, she brought in the team. Maddie is distraught, you know that. Abby, like she said, Abby had police on speed dial. She said she felt that was funny because like it's three numbers. What you need to put them on speed dial for? But she called the police often. So I know exactly what type of person she is. Anyways, so Lifetime had came to an agreement, you know, with the walkout and everything. They came to an agreement with, you know, giving the parents what they asked for, and you know, they came back. So then they started to ask for like a reduction in episodes, because these would be like 30-40 episode seasons. So, you know, they would do like part A and part B. They would call it part A and part B of the season. And, you know, obviously you're getting paid by the season, so they're getting paid for more episodes. And they're getting paid for one season, but it's basically 2 seasons they should be getting paid for, if that makes sense. All right, so they would spend like 40 to 60 hours a week filming. They would spend 40 to 60 hours a week filming. So why did she come back? She answered it. She said because production assured her if they felt anything was out of hand, they would handle it. And she said it slightly did. Like, the environment slightly did change after that situation when Abby had put her hands on her. So she said they stayed because she earned her spot and she deserved to be there. And she also didn't want to leave the show because she saw changes. And earlier in the book, she had mentioned how she wanted to win her first, like, she wanted to win a national title. She wanted to have that crown. She wanted to have that trophy. And she said she did. She ended up, she won it. But she said it wasn't shown. This was in season 4. Now can somebody fact check me on that? I don't know if I read that wrong, because she had said it wasn't. She said this wasn't. She said I saw changes, but this wasn't shown in the show. I had won my first national title, but it made me think, why would they not show that in the show? So I want to go back and fact check that to see if that really was true. So she didn't want to give the satisfaction to Abby of getting rid of the Tootie, so that's why she stayed so long. And then that just wraps up chapter 6. But I done read chapter 7 through motherfreaking 9. And chapter 7 and 9, it's just gonna be chapter 7 and 9 that I'm gonna do my next video on, because these two is a lot. It's a lot to chapter 7 through 8. Through 9. My bad. We gonna dive into a lot. But overall, like, these chapters really grind my gears, because the fact that the blatant racism she was shown and the show was protecting Abby, and just it just really made me mad. I really pray over Nia, and I hope that, I know she's grown, because she said she's grown a lot, she's moved past and she's healed, but I hated that she had to be in that environment. I hated that she stayed so long. I hated that these people even treated her like this in the first place. But thank y'all for watching this video, and then I'm gonna see y'all in the next recap that we do. Let me know what y'all opinions are below.